majestic bird. There are scholars, historians who are of the opinion that in Ramayana there is no description that of any kind of bird of this nature.
Sure. So he's demonic, right? He is Mayavi. He is a person who is the greatest villain of all time. He is a demon. He's a 10-headed demon, and you will have to see the film to actually understand that particular point. But he's riding a huge creature, right? And that's his right. And that is a very it's a very negative visual that I see personally as a filmmaker. And when I talk about when I talk about a really ruthless a demon king called Ravan, I see him riding that obnoxious creature. एक दुराचारी, एक दुष्ट प्रवृत्ति का ऐसा ये किरदार है रावण हमारी इतिहास का, और ये दुष्ट प्रवृत्ति का किरदार जो है वो जिस पर सवार होके आ रहा है वो भी एक खौफनाक और नेगेटिविटी से भरा हुआ ऐसा ये क्रीचर है.
So from mustache to beard, इस पर जो जी go ahead मनोज जी, go ahead. हाँ
जी because I was just trying to say that who doesn't know, I mean, how a Pushpak Viman would look like. I mean, you do not need Manoj Muntashir or Om Raut to really tell you how a Pushpak Viman will.
Pushpak is an extremely positive thing for us.
Pushpak
it's something that is worshipped. It's a ride of our. हमारे भगवान उस पे आते हैं. हमारे महाराष्ट्र में जो हम तुकाराम भगवान की गाथा भी कहते हैं, तो तुकाराम भगवान जब समाधि ले रहे थे तो उन्हें लेने के लिए देव देवताओं ने पुष्पक भेजा था यहाँ पे, और पुष्पक पर सवारी होकर हमारे तुकाराम भगवान परलोकवासी हो गए थे. हमारे पुष्पक की तो बहुत ही बड़ी ये है. इसके अगर आप बिल्कुल भी ऐसे बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि इट इज पुष्पक विमान, तो ये बिल्कुल वैसे है नहीं, क्योंकि पुष्पक विमान हम हिंदुओं के लिए बहुत ही पवित्र है.
आप ये बताएं कि रामायण में इसका कोई जिक्र नहीं है, इस तरह की किसी बर्ड का जिक्र नहीं है, या जो क्रीचर है, आपने उस क्रीचर की बात की, बिल्कुल जिक्र नहीं है. लेकिन रामायण में रावण के मायावी होने का जिक्र है कि वो भी नहीं है. ये तो है ना कि वो अपने छल से, अपनी माया से अनेक ढांचे खड़े कर लिया करता था, बहुत कुछ कर लिया करता था, माया से चित्र खींच दिया करता था, माया से मौसम बदल दिया करता था, कितना कुछ माया से कर लिया करता था वो. तो जो उसका मायावी होना है, जिसका जिक्र लाइक इट इज ऑन लाइक एवरी अदर पेज ऑफ रामायणा. सो वंस you study that, you will come to know that this is a creative visualization of his Maya. It is not Pushpak Viman, for the record.
Hello everyone.
Good evening, hello and welcome. I'm Anusha Soni. Let's begin with some latest news coming. And after the silence, Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi Chief Minister, has hit out at BJP. And this is about the BJP labeling him anti-Hindu. In his first response to the BJP attack, Mr. Kejriwal projected himself as a Hanuman Bhakt, a religious person who was born to destroy the people he called born to cunts. He is a demon in Hindu mythology, vowing that he would finish them. Listen into what Arvind Kejriwal said during his roadshow in Vadodara while being on a tour to Gujarat. Listen in.
धार्मिक आदमी हूँ, हनुमान जी का कट्टर भक्त हूँ. हनुमान जी की असीम कृपा है मेरे ऊपर. ये सब लोग कंस की औलाद हैं, भगवान का अपमान करते हैं, भक्तों का अपमान करते हैं, गुंडागर्दी करते हैं. जिस दिन मेरा जन्म हुआ था उस दिन जन्माष्टमी थी, श्री कृष्ण जन्माष्टमी, और मुझे भगवान ने एक स्पेशल काम देके भेजा है, ये इन कंस की औलादों का नाश करने के लिए.
All right, cutting across to Rupashri Nanda, who will give us more perspective on this story. Rupashri, quite some laden narrative there, and especially the manner in which he's evoked the Hindu icons.
Well, absolutely. Everybody knows the story of, Kansa and Sri Krishna. And when Arvind Kejriwal refers to that, then the meaning is immediately communicated to the people. So remember the context in which he said this actually comes a day after the controversy erupted over Rajyapal Gautam's presence at a conversion ceremony here in the national capital by the Buddhist Society of India, in which and another organization of which Rajyapal Gautam was also heading, and that actually has given a handle to the BJP. And many organizations across Gujarat actually put up a lot of posters in various places targeting the Aam Aadmi Party and Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal as anti-Hindu. And the Kejriwal could have responded to these allegations also in the Jan Sabha that he held earlier in the day in Lahore. But he did not actually make any reference to that over there. But in Vadodara, actually, in the road show in the evening, when he reached there and the road show started, he started his speech by referring to this indirectly. And he also essentially said that they, which he's targeting the BJP, are the children of Kansa. Now, Kansa was considered to be a king who was a sort of a tyrant, and a king who wanted to finish off his own sister's children, including Lord Krishna. And Kejriwal also makes that reference to Lord Krishna by saying that he was born in Janmashtami and with a special mission. And remember what happened in the mythology? It was Krishna who killed Kansa finally.
And Rupashri, as you point out, it's a very strong narrative which is being used, not on the defensive but attacking the political opponents. And the Aam Aadmi Party continues to retain that identity, that they are the party with a real agenda for the Hindus of the country. So that tone and tenor and pitch they want to maintain in the state of Gujarat. Well, our top focus this hour, a statement coming in from Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who's on his Bharat Jodo Yatra. He is reiterating that the Gandhis' family position vis-a-vis the upcoming presidential elections within the Grand Old Party. Now, he said that there would be no remote control as and when the new Congress president takes over. The elections are on the 17th of October, and the indications are, in all likelihood, it's Mallikarjun Kharge versus Shashi Tharoor, and we are all set to have a non-Gandhi president after roughly about 15 years. Now, will this statement coming in from Rahul Gandhi hold any merit against the stinging criticism coming in from the BJP and many other political opponents? Despite a non-Gandhi president, as expected, will the party be controlled by 10 Janpath? That's what the critics are asking. At the end of the day, the reform within the Grand Old Party demands a shift of power. Will that really happen? The churnings within the Congress party is our top focus this time.
Both the people who are standing have a position, have a perspective, and are people of stature and people of understanding. So I don't think either of them is going to be a remote control. I think frankly this tone is insulting to both of them.
बहुत से लोग ये प्रचार करते हैं कि भाई ये फिर रिमोट कंट्रोल से है, ये पीछे से काम करते हैं। डिसीजन इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स लेंगे, वर्किंग कमेटी होती है, इलेक्शन कमेटी होती है।
Well, to give us more perspective about whether Rahul Gandhi, his statement will hold any merit, what does it signify in the run-up to the elections, and what to expect in the next few days, my colleague Pallavi Ghosh, our senior editor, is with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, I asked you earlier as well, and I'd ask you again. The statement coming in from Rahul Gandhi, will it hold any merit against the stinging criticism? Or whatever he says, the criticism would always be that the party continues to be controlled by the Gandhis.
That's right. In fact, the last press conference, which was done by Mallikarjun Kharge,
that was on 2nd of October. I think that was a giveaway. He did say that, I'll ask for a consensus candidate and I requested Tharoor to withdraw, which just goes on to show that the Congress party does want only one candidate to be set up. But more than that, when we asked him this question about what about the Gandhis, he kept on making the point that they're continuing to be the leader of the party and there's nothing which is going to stop us from going to the Gandhis for advice. And you know what that advice means. That's exactly what happened with Dr. Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi equation, and that's exactly what's going to happen as far as Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and the Gandhis are concerned. They're going to be working in tandem. Nothing can stop that impression from building up that at the end of the day, this election is a sham, and of course, it's the Gandhis who are controlling, calling the shots. Despite the fact that Rahul Gandhi, of course, said it's a humiliation and it's insulting to even suggest that they are going to be remote controlled.
Pallavi, to be fair to the Congress party, I think there's no way that they can logically defeat this criticism considering their history. I mean, it will always stay.
Yes, and the jury is still out on whether only the Congress party can be blamed for this or other political parties, especially personality-driven parties, work in a similar manner. But the fact that the Gandhis have walked out from the elections, they've stayed out, the fact that the elections are even taking place after 20 years, so Congress party is always going to flaunt this fact that unlike the other parties, particularly the BJP, at least they're holding elections.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pallavi, for getting us all that perspective. Well, joining us on the broadcast is our full panel of guests. Sanju Verma, who's the BJP national spokesperson, Professor Gargi Nandi Roy, who's a political analyst, Mr. Sumansi Raman, who's a political analyst, Rashid Kidwai, who's an author and senior journalist. Everyone is joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Mr. Kidwai, I'll come to you first. The statement coming in from Rahul Gandhi on the expected lines, well, he couldn't have said that the Congress party will be controlled by the Gandhis even when you have a non-Gandhi president. But I would also say that there is no way that the Gandhis will be able to dispel this criticism. I'm sure Sanju would not agree when the Congress party is going to say that, this is a non-Gandhi face, we are having elections, we are better off than BJP and various other political parties in having the electoral process in the manner and form we are having.
Absolutely, Anusha. I think the Congress should stop feeling, defensive about it. Every political party has its own kind of character. There is in the left, there has been a Bengal line that prevented Jyoti Basu from becoming prime minister. In the BJP, we know the role of, so to say, Sangh Parivar and the RSS and many family-run parties. Of course, the family is, the family member, whether it's Mulayam Singh or Chandrasekhar Rao or any other MK Stalin, they really matter. So in this case, political legacy is firmly with the Gandhis, and in the Congress there are no two views about it. That doesn't mean people cannot function. I mean, all those people, Anusha, who keep saying, I'm saying something little controversial, all those people who keep saying that there was a remote control that governed Manmohan Singh, how is it that people of India gave a, renewed and a more, stronger verdict in 2009? So obviously there was some work that Manmohan Singh was doing, clicked with the masses, and of course in 2014 everything went bad for the Congress. So of course you can always say that there was a remote control and that led to the downfall of the Congress. So this is the long and short of it. I think the Congress gets on the defensive, but they have a work culture. I have seen Sitaram Kesri when Sonia Gandhi joined politics. Sitaram Kesri had become very status quoist because Mr. Kesri, stopped going for a campaign. He stopped, asserting. So it is for Mr. Kharge. If Mr. Kharge just limits himself to a kind of, just as a functionary, it will be a different thing.
Let me come to you, Sanju. The argument of the Congress party is that we're having elections. See, the Gandhis have taken a step back. What about the BJP? Do you even have elections of any kind? And you have no moral or political authority for any kind of criticism to the Congress party. Respond to these charges, Sanju.
Anusha, I would actually like to take a cue from what Rashid Kidwai said. He made a very interesting point that, why should people not believe that the Congress is actually trying to mend its ways because, you're seeing some kind of change on the ground. By virtue of the same logic, anyone who has an iota of understanding of Indian polity agrees that finally winning elections is a big barometer about what people think about you, your leadership, your party, et al. And given that BJP is in power in 17 states in India, accounting for 49% of India's population and 44% of India's land area, by virtue of that logic and by virtue of the fact that the BJP won Lok Sabha 2014, 2019 and won 4 out of 5 states which went into polls earlier this year with a strike rate of 80%. By virtue of that logic, I can say that it is not a Modi-Amit Shah party, as people would like to allege. By virtue of the fact that we've been winning election after election with a thumping majority, this shows that the Aam Janta on the ground knows that yes, this is the party that actually has internal democracy, which is not a sham, but is there in the truest sense of the term.
Let me try and contradict you on your own points. Brand Modi is a phenomena that the world recognizes. It's a brand in Indian politics today that can help you win any kind of elections. We know states like Uttar Pradesh, which did not really have a face, and I'm talking about the earlier elections, not this assembly elections, and they won with a thumping majority. It was brand Narendra Modi. You have won various elections because of brand Narendra Modi. And the question so much is not about the brand of Prime Minister and the Home Minister. It's about the internal democracy within the party. Talk about that, Sanju.
Okay. Anusha, with no offense to you, I think I have been one of the most vocal supporters of brand Modi much before even the coin was made popular at the expense of having been
Why would I take offense, Sanju? Yeah.
I have been called an Andhbhakt, and actually I wear it as a proud badge of honor rather than being defensive about it. Coming to your question, Anusha, as I said, anyone who has a basic understanding of Indian polity knows that while you have 23 or 24 members in the Congress Working Committee, which was rejigged a couple of weeks back, the fact of the matter is the Congress party, and I've said this ad nauseum and at the expense of sounding cliched, I will repeat for the benefit of your viewers. The Congress party is a private limited company where Sonia Gandhi, that is 10 Janpath, Rahul Gandhi as in 12 Tughlaq Lane, Priyanka Vadra and Damad Shri Robert Vadra call the shots. And for anyone who has an iota of doubt about what I'm saying, only needs to travel back to 2014, just 8 odd years, and we all know how Rahul Gandhi in full public glare, he was not even, the president of the party. He just tore that ordinance and threw it to smithereens in front of the press, making so little about the stature of the Prime Minister then, Mr. Manmohan Singh. And I'll just end by saying one thing. Congress is a 137-year-old party, and they have had 12 non-Gandhis as Congress presidents. And out of these 12 non-Gandhis in 137 years, Anusha, not even one managed to complete his or her full term. BJP is just a, 42-year-old party. We've had Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, Nitin Gadkari, JP Nadda. We've had a plethora of people. It's not
all right. Point
taken.
Let me bring in Professor Gargi and Roy and Mr. Sumansi Raman, who's finally with us on the broadcast. Gargi ji, do you agree with the argument that Sanju is making? And I also want to take forward what Rashid Kidwai said, that Congress party should stop being defensive. I mean, all political parties in this country work in a certain manner, and there is no absolute complete democratic elections or reform that happen within any political party. So why should we hold Congress especially accountable on these merits or on these parameters?
Look, thank you for inviting me.
Sumanji, I'll come to you. Sumanji, I'll come to you. Yes, Gargi, go ahead. Yeah.
See, what Sanju has said very rightly, the presidents in BJP we have seen, they are not from one family. BJP is not a dynastic party, like she has already stated, like we've seen now Mr. Nadda, before Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh or Gadkari, so it's not a dynastic party. Yes, some leader can be known for the charisma. And coming back to Congress, Anusha, I think Congress does have a culture of psychophancy, it's quite known. And let us be very clear, whoever becomes the president, Mr. Rahul Gandhi will be the leader. That's very clear. Mr. Jairam Ramesh had commented a few days ago that the presidential election is a sideshow. The yatra is the main thing. Why should someone comment like that? And why do you think Mallikarjun Kharge was brought in? Because I think Congress always believed in a consensus candidate. Mr. Shashi Tharoor, he is erudite, intellectual, he wants to bring changes, he doesn't believe in high command culture, but we all know that he has least chances. Mr. Kharge will be. Why? It is very clear. Because if you see, talk about psychophancy from Indira's side, and they say Indira is India and India is India. Now it is like Sonia is Congress and Congress is Sonia. Though she is not contesting, you remember what happened in 2000 when Jitendra Prasad dared to contest against Sonia Gandhi in the presidential election. 99% votes went to Sonia Gandhi. So it is either the Gandhi family or their chosen candidate.
Okay.
It's very
Mr. Sumansi Raman, Sanju Verma, and Gargi ji are making an argument here. Gargi ji, I'll take your argument. I'll take your argument forward. Okay, finish your point. Finish your point.
And Mr. Rashid Kidwai, let me take one line. Rashid Kidwai spoke about Sitaram Kesri ji. Do you remember how unceremoniously Sitaram Kesri was removed? His staff was packed in a jeep. It was a bloodless coup to change the president.
Mr. Kidwai, we have lost Mr. Sumansi Raman again, so I can't go back to him. We'll try and get him patched once again. So I'm going to take all these questions to you as well. Is there a special culture, some kind of special psychophancy which is reserved within the Congress party? Because that is a resounding criticism that comes in time and again. I'm not saying psychophancy is only there in the Congress party, but is there a special nature and a characteristic to it?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's fair. And Anusha, I'm glad that Professor Gargi made this mention about Kesri. You see, the Kesri was removed, and of course, one can always put the entire blame on Sonia Gandhi. But fact of the matter is that, and since I was very closely reporting that matter, the entire Congress party, Pranab Mukherjee, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Jitendra Prasad, Rajesh Pilot, Madharo Sindhia, all those people who mattered, they all were very much part of that conspiracy. So I'm just saying to say that Sonia Gandhi did everything is partly factually wrong. It was the entire cream of the Congress party which kind of got in hand in glove with Sonia Gandhi to throw out Kesri. This is a matter of record. And my friend Sanju, I just want to make one factual correction. That you said 137-year-old Congress party, the new president would be 88th. So that means there have been 88 presidents. And of course, I mean, you're right, over 45 years, you know, the Gandhis have been there, post-independent era, post-1980, right? It's all dominated by them. But for record, Nehru was Congress president just for 6 years. So I'm saying there is no correlation between being Congress president or president of a party and the having, you know, kind of political leadership. Gandhi was very briefly in Congress. Narendra Modi has not even for a day been BJP president. But can somebody say that he's not, you know, he's not a political leader of the BJP?
All right.
So this is the thing. So political leadership is something different. Party president is something altogether
Sanju,
different.
while you respond to Mr. Rashid Kidwai, I also want you to talk a little bit about, and as a student of politics and somebody who's active in Indian politics, about the need for internal democracy within political parties. It's a utopian idea. Across the world, there is no absolute democracy within political parties. But yes, there is a case to be made for more and more democracy, not just within the Congress party, but even within a BJP or an SP or a BSP.
You know, I think, Anusha, that's an excellent question. And, Rashid Kidwai already, as we all know, is a keen political observer. I don't want to get into the semantics of 137-year-old history versus 88 presidents or, blah, blah, blah. The key point is this, if you look at the history of any political party, the Samajwadi Party is all about, the Yadavs, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Akhilesh Yadav. You look at Trinamool Congress, it is about Mamata Banerjee and Abhishek Banerjee. You look at TRS, it is about KCR and KTR. You look at DMK, it was earlier about N. Karunanidhi, now it is about NK Stalin. You look at TDP, it was earlier about YSR's father, now it is about YSR. I think BJP today is the only pan-India, only national party where the parliamentary board is empowered to take every major bona fide decision. That is precisely the reason why political pundits said, oh, Rajnath Singh's son Pankaj Singh will this time certainly become a minister in Yogi Adityanath 2.0's cabinet. They were proved wrong. They said, oh, Raman Singh, who was the earlier chief minister of Chhattisgarh, his son Abhishek Singh will certainly be rehabilitated in some form. He was not even given a ticket to contest elections. This is the same bunch which said that, oh, you know what, Vasundhara Raje may not be the chief minister, but her son Dushyant Singh will be rehabilitated in some form or the other by him being given a senior position in the party. That did not happen. The limited point I'm making is that in the Congress, it is the Darbari culture of family retainers who call the shots. In the BJP, meritocracy and meritocracy is what largely determines how far you go and how long you stay where you reach.
I also want to reiterate in this debate that we wanted the Congress party officially to be a part of this discussion, but they declined. So, yes, we don't have them on the debate. But Professor Gargi, I'm coming to you and talking about the Darbari culture within the Congress party. Is it fair to say that this entire Darbari culture has been festered for decades, as Mr. Rashid Kidwai was also reporting, that this is a problem that has been seen for a very long time, a sycophancy which has been perpetuated within the party. And that's perhaps one of the reasons that a lot of young, old, new blood especially is moving out of the Congress party and looking for better avenues within BJP or other political parties.
Yes, I think it is so true. I think it started more from Indira Gandhi's time, when this Indira Congress, this is not the 137-year-old party, to correct everybody. Isn't it the Indira Congress? And here we see this culture. And Anusha, if you see in 137 years history, only 4 times there has been proper election. Otherwise, Congress always believed in this consensus culture, the Kamraj culture. Kamraj wanted consensus in 1964. Here also, Mr. Kharge, he wanted a consensus. And majorly, he is a consensus candidate. He will become the president. So, I think it is very clear that Darbar, why was Manmohan Singh chosen? With all respect towards Mr. Manmohan Singh, he was a very learned man, very respected person, but he was essentially a technocrat. He was not a politician. But I think because Mrs. Gandhi chose Manmohan Singh over Pranab Mukherjee was the fittest, because Mrs. Gandhi wanted someone who will be like
Mr. Kidwai, do you agree with what Professor Gargi is saying? I have last 1 minute. Is that a fair criticism to hold?
Well, I think that's grossly unfair to Dr. Manmohan Singh. I mean, a learned man, economist. That's what I'm saying. If there was all these things were there, Darbari culture, how people of India gave a renewed mandate? Please answer. The Congress, the UPA tally went up to 206 from 142. Please respond. I want to ask from
Sanju, you want to respond to that point? If this was so much about Darbari culture and sycophancy, then why did UPA 2 get a thumping mandate? 30 seconds, I'm short of time.
You know, with no offense to Mr. Kidwai, he's defending the indefensible. I don't want to discuss how Congress went from 142 to 206. I want to discuss how Congress went down from 206 to a pathetic 52. And even those 52 seats that were won in Lok Sabha 2019, in Lok Sabha 2019, it got 52 seats, the Congress, out of which 34 came from just 2 states. 24, from Tamil Nadu, and the balance from Kerala. So basically, Congress today has no presence in the cow belt, in the Hindi belt, in central India. And if Rahul Gandhi says by walking 25 kilometers every day and by, jumping into the ocean and showing my swimming skills, I can resurrect a party which has seen the exit of people like Amrinder Singh, Ghulam Nabi Azad, and Hardik Patel.
I think only time is going to tell to what extent Congress party is able to reform from within, and how much these elections and a non-Gandhi phase will really, transform that shift of power that we're expecting from 10 Janpad to the non-Gandhi president. I thank you all. Thank you, Sanju Verma, Professor Gargi Nandi, and Rashid Kidwai. Thank you so much for joining us on this discussion. All eyes on the crucial elections on the 17th of October. Let's see what happens with the Grand Old Party. With that, it's a wrap, but here's a reminder that these are the nominees for the Indian of the Year politics category. And you can watch the grand finale live on 12th of October, Wednesday, from 6 p.m. onwards, only here on CNN News 18. Thank you for watching this summit. Down their power bills by 60 to 100%. An amount of over 80 crore has been split equally between the centre and the state government for this project. While in some unfortunate news, 26 bodies have been recovered so far from the site of the avalanche that occurred in the Uttarkashi region of Uttarakhand on the 4th of October. Search and rescue operations for the remaining 3 mountaineers are underway. And Delhi witnesses an increase in the number of COVID cases as the national capital records 137 fresh cases and 1 death in the last 24 hours, bringing the active case count to 397. Earlier this week, Kejriwal government rolled back a fine for not wearing a mask in public spaces. Welcome to the special broadcast. A quick check of some key news from across the country. The long-standing tussle between Uddhav Thackeray camp and Eknath Shinde camp for the bow and arrow symbol, that Shiv Sena symbol, has clearly boiled over. After the Shinde faction moved the Election Commission to be allotted the logo, Uddhav camp has submitted its reply to the Election Commission today, stressing that any plea to take over the symbol is not maintainable. In the reply, Uddhav Thackeray has also said that no claim to the party symbol can be made. He further argued that Shinde is holding a position which is not recognized by the party constitution and he's holding it maliciously. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who's on a 2-day visit to Assam, inaugurated the newly constructed state BJP office in Basista area in Guwahati today. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal and other state party leaders were also present at the occasion. The building, spread over 95,000 square feet, has about 6 floors.
मुझे आज बहुत आनंद और हर्ष है 2014 से लेकर 2022 के अल्पकाल के अंदर आज पूरा नॉर्थ ईस्ट और हमारा आसाम विकास के रास्ते पर चल पड़ा और मेरे जैसे कार्यकर्ता के लिए इस सौभाग्य का विषय है कि ये नॉर्थ ईस्ट का विकास और भाजपा का नॉर्थ ईस्ट में विकास दोनों समांतर चले। हम लोगों ने 512 कार्यालय बनाने का प्रस्तावना रखी और आज 236 कार्यालय जिले के बन चुके हैं और 154 कार्यालय बनने के क्रम में हैं। आगे चल करके हर जिले में भारतीय जनता पार्टी का भव्य कार्यालय होगा। कार्यालय कोई ऑफिस नहीं है, यह हमारे समर्पण का केंद्र है।
And Union Home Minister Amit Shah conducted a meeting with the Drug Trafficking and National Security in Guwahati in the presence of Assam Chief Minister and Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy today in Guwahati. A special mission to burn 75 kg of drugs on this 75 years of independence has been undertaken by the Narcotics Control Bureau. 1,09,000 drugs disposed of so far. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has said that India faces no pressure from the US to reduce its energy purchase from Russia. He further said that India will purchase crude oil from any nation it wants. Remember, after Russia has started the war with Ukraine, certain nations have been questioning India over its purchase and supply of crude oil from the Russians.
Look, let me make it very clear. India will buy oil from wherever it has to, for the simple reason that this kind of a discussion cannot be taken to the consuming population of India. I mean, just imagine what has happened, the kind of dislocation and chaos you have in some countries. So we have a moral duty to supply to our district.
The entire controversy around the presence of an Aam Aadmi Party leader at a conversion ceremony has spilled over to Gujarat now ahead of the Delhi and Punjab Chief Minister's Tuesday visit to the poll-bound state. Posters have been put up of Arvind Kejriwal donning a skull cap. People have even come out on the streets to paint slogans against the Aam Aadmi Party convener which say, "Go back Arvind Kejriwal." While on the other side, AAP supporters were seen removing anti-Kejriwal posters that were put up on the scheduled rally. Meanwhile, BJP attacked the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that people of Gujarat will teach them a lesson for communal politics.
ये जो होर्डिंग है वो होर्डिंग भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने नहीं लगाए, ये होर्डिंग बड़ौदा शहर की जनता ने अपने हिसाब से लगाए होंगे और ये होर्डिंग के माध्यम से बड़ौदा शहर की जनता इनको बताना चाहती है कि आने वाले इलेक्शन में हम आपको सबक सिखाएंगे। जो राजनीति इन्होंने धर्म की शुरू की है वो बहुत गलत राजनीति है।
welcome to Bits to Billions, the unicorn story. We are in conversation with Mayank Kumar, the co-founder and managing director of Upgrad, which is targeted mostly at working professionals. It helps them upskill and get a leg up. Mayank, it's good to be in Mumbai, right in the middle of monsoons. It's rainy, it's windy. Which way is the wind blowing for Upgrad? Because if I look at the education technology space, there's a lot of storm ahead, a lot of storm already underway in terms of layoffs and cutbacks. Which way is the wind blowing for you?
It's all the tailwind right now, Chandra.
No headwinds.
No headwinds right now for us. But I think the good part is that the ecosystem is maturing, and we are seeing a lot of newer things emerging, and specifically in the working professional, college learner, higher education ecosystem, things are looking far more interesting than perhaps what it was a year or 2 years back.
Right. But in terms of growth, a lot of the other edtechs we saw, they've suffered post-pandemic with things moving offline. Yeah. How has it been for you?
No, so I think for a lot of K through 12 ecosystem and let's say test prep ecosystem, yes, because of pandemic coming in, offline shut down, so a lot of demand went to sort of the online ecosystem, and now with offline opening up, some demand is bound to go back, and therefore each of the edtech ecosystem providers where there's an offline alternative, they're thinking of ways and means in which they can venture into that domain, but it will have a short-term impact. But I do believe that in the long run, given what happened during pandemic and how the shift happened, you will see a significant move happening, and online adoption will increase going forward because now people have experienced it. Education is a funny business. More people experience it, more people will come there.
Founded in 2015, Upgrad is one of India's education technology unicorns, founded and run by Ronnie Screwvala, Mayank Kumar and Falgun Kompally. Targeted at the 18 to 60 age group, Upgrad is a higher education and upskilling startup that offers accredited courses and certificates in relevant industries such as e-commerce, big data and BFSI. It competes with the likes of Eruditus, Byju's owned Great Learning, Simply Learn, Udemy and Coursera among others. Its offerings cover various segments such as test prep, study abroad programs and undergrad degrees to campus courses in 250 universities. It was last valued at a reported 2.25 billion after raising 225 million. It wants to be in the full value chain of college learners and working professionals.
Mayank, the other thing that I've also noticed among other edtechs, mainly in the test prep space, be it your Byju's, Vedantu, Unacademy, they've all pivoted to offline. Edtech started with this value proposition that it's going to be online, it's really going to redefine the paradigm. But if you look at it now, it's almost as if we are back to square one. So will Upgrad change its model in any way? Do you see a need to change your model? You're in a very different space, the higher education and upskilling space. But will you also have to make changes to adjust to the new normal, to adjust to the offline world?
So I think there's difference in the models that some of the other edtech providers are playing in, because at least in their segment there's an offline alternative, and therefore for them to capture the demand, they do need to have a presence in offline, because there is a customer preference for offline, they need to be there. There's a customer preference for online, they need to be there. So I guess for those sectors, specifically K through 12, test prep, tuitions and sort of tutoring centers, I do see a need for a lot of edtech companies to go towards offline, because there's a market sitting there where they can leverage technology and improve the efficacy, etc. That's something that they will definitely work on. But when it comes to, let's say, working professional college learners, because there's not that much of an offline alternative, online is the only option for most individuals to study and learn. And therefore for us, while we will be present offline, but that will largely be for acquisitions, counseling, being closer to the customer. and not necessarily for teaching.
Right. The other thing that I want to ask you, Mayank, is your value proposition is targeted at working professionals who want to upskill themselves in, courses that are relevant to their particular industry. In fact, 75% of your business comes from there, and 25% are perhaps people who want to pursue online degrees. But now with, the job market looking a little bleak, at least when it comes to startups.
Yep.
We've seen over 13,000 people being laid off. Do you still think people will invest in upskilling now, working professionals, or will they be more careful with the money they spend?
Sure.
Will they be more cautious? How is it going to affect the dynamic for you?
So the interesting statistics that education is counter-cyclical to the economic sort of growth. So whenever the economy goes down,
The
higher
demand
education
for higher
picks up.
education goes
We have
up.
seen this in 2008,
Yeah.
2009. We have seen this in 2014, 15, 16, around the time when that transition happened. So I do see that this is the time when a lot of these individuals will go back to the drawing board, invest in themselves and become more relevant. And we are seeing that. I mean, given whatever is happening, we are not seeing a drop in demand. We are seeing same number of people actually more enthusiastically looking for a better sort of upskilling opportunity. In fact, when I look at this ecosystem, I also believe that what's happening in startup is a very small portion of the working professional ecosystem. There's a much larger IT services, BFSI, FMCG, retail ecosystem where people are looking at ways and means in which they can get to more new age roles, more sort of growth roles.
How is it working out for you? Will you also have to optimize and rationalize and all these terms that companies are using to cut to cut costs?
Better terms for cutting costs.
Yeah.
No, I would not deny that there is an environment where funding is going to be difficult, funding is going to be tricky. So for every line of business, one has to be running it in a manner that is sustainable. We cannot run a business which every customer coming into us is loss making, and that shift has to happen. Having said that, there are other areas in which we are growing. So while the core business is profitable and will throw in cash, there are areas where we'll continue to invest. So we'll venture into study abroad, which is a very large part of our business. We are going to invest in that. We are looking at sort of our own branded skill certification program, where we are going to invest heavily on there. We have few job guarantee, job link program. We are going to invest in these elements. So there are multiple new areas, Chandra, that we have ventured into where we will continue to invest. So we are looking at hiring for leadership roles, for various sort of operation roles and executive roles. And those are the places where we will double down and ensure that just because there is that talk of funding winter, we don't get into a place where we are not investing in future growth. That future growth is integral to our sort of long-term journey, because we are creating a lifelong learning pathway, and just one line of business may not suffice for us to be a lifelong learning provider.
Right. I must ask you, Mayank, if I talk to entrepreneurs in Bangalore, at least in the last few weeks, the mood is pretty bleak. People are talking about how everything has kind of come to a standstill, and what's the mood like among founders in Mumbai?
See, I guess, except for the monsoon, everything seems to be on track. No, but I guess there's no that much of difference between Bombay and Bangalore. In Mumbai also, folks are now looking at making and ensuring that they are not going beyond the means at which they need to operate in. So there will be that, you will definitely see a far more scrutiny in how people are hiring, far more scrutiny in what kind of resources that you are investing in. A lot of adjacent experiments that companies were doing will start slowing down.
That will not happen.
That may not happen, but if you're very clear about your strategy, then you don't think twice whether this is an experiment which is adjacent, but this is part of your strategy. So I guess those are the ways in which you will see difference, but I don't see that significant difference in Bombay and Bangalore, because money has no color and money has no destination preference. But we definitely see things getting more saner and more rational in the approach right now.
What will also help Upgrad weather the current turbulence in Edtech is the experience and wisdom of its co-founder and chairperson Ronnie Screwvala, one of India's most seasoned entrepreneurs. Screwvala built a media and entertainment conglomerate UTV that he later sold to Disney. He started Upgrad at the age of 58 with Mayank and Falgun. He's also an investor, having made investments through Unilaser Ventures.
Mayank, what's it like working with Ronnie Screwvala?
No, it is. I mean, you should ask him yourself on that question.
But I want to ask you, what's it like working with him?
No, look, I think
Ronnie, has his reputation of being a hard taskmaster, a tough person to work with.
Where did that reputation come from?
No, I wouldn't say hard taskmaster, but I guess a few things that definitely sort of you get to learn a lot is that no matter whatever thing it is, whether it is this table, this light, or work, or revenue, or numbers, he's just overly particular about everything. And I don't know how he gets that energy, how he gets that work, but for everything, he wants to be extra sort of thought through and thinking it through, and that's something that I'm trying to pick up, but it's very difficult to pick up that trait because he has had that experience of doing it for so many years.
So when you say he's exacting, he knows every part of the business?
Every part of the business, more than perhaps the business owners also.
More than what I should be knowing.
That also is true.
But Ronnie, are all entrepreneurs inherently micromanagers? I mean, I wouldn't call it micromanagement, but you have to kind of have that attention to detail.
I think there's a misnomer that attention to detail is micromanagement. I think that you need to know a lot more. I'm not somebody who, if somebody asks 5 questions, I'll say, okay, let me open my laptop, let me figure this out. So if you're on top of it, your thinking gets a little cleaner and gets a little sharper. I don't think that should be looked at as micromanagement. Everyone at various levels of leadership should be on top of their game, top of their business, top of the details. And if you are, you can scan in your mind and come to better decision-making process. So to me, it's not micromanaging. It helps me clean up and take harder, faster decisions.
And how have you changed as an entrepreneur compared to the UTV days to Upgrad?
In many ways, actually, it's a lot more collaborative process. When you're starting up something from the ground up on your own, you're an absolute first-generation entrepreneur that has never been able to raise money or debt. You look at things in a very different way.
Yeah.
Second, media taught me a lot of collaborative work because at the end of the day, you can only succeed in media if you're a great catalyst.
Yeah.
If you want to do everything there, you want to be the director, the producer, you want to be the creative person and the marketing person, it doesn't work. So I think that grounding that I got in media to be collaborative is exactly what I think is my evolution in terms of building teams. And my first instinct, therefore, Mayank in his own mind was thinking of getting into education. Separately, in a different world, I was looking at it the same way. But the very fact that I was looking for a co-founder and he was looking for a co-founder speaks the volumes of how one has emerged.
Ronnie, last year, Edtech was the poster boy of the Indian startup ecosystem.
Created by the media themselves, but yes.
Don't lay this at media's door. This year, it's kind of become the bad boy of India's startup ecosystem.
Created by the media itself.
No, the data speaks for itself. I mean, more than half of the layoffs that are happening today are happening at Edtechs. So, employees are asking a lot of tough questions. Customers are asking these questions that, if these Edtechs had money to pay to Shah Rukh Khan and Amir Khan, Amitabh Bachchan is your brand ambassador, why were they not prepared to pay employees? They hire in one shot, fire at the first sign of trouble.
Yeah.
Why are we not building businesses that can weather even 3 months of a funding winter or, even 6 months of a funding winter?
Yeah. So I think very legitimate questions. Firstly, you can't judge business and sectors just on their capacity to raise funds and not. So, and this winter, I don't identify with that because there are 4 seasons in life and they come and they go. That's the idea. They come and